everybody, and welcome back to the CODI cast. Now today is actually a very special episode for me today because, no, it's not my birthday. I'm joined today by two of my amazing team. So I've got with me Olivia and Coco. So welcome to the show, guys. Shout out to Tom for that fantastic applause.
Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you.
So I feel very fortunate to work with these amazing ladies. They honestly make my job so much easier, and they put up with me, which is always a challenge. So Liv is our sensational client services coordinator, and Liv, pretty much her main job is to round me up and chase me for all the million things that I fail to do, and she does it with the most beautiful grace. So thank you, Liv, for being very patient.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
And Coco is our social media and LinkedIn queen. So I'm excited to talk about, all things LinkedIn. So as you know, it's one of my favourite topics to talk about. So, see, no one at dinner conversations wants to talk to me about LinkedIn. So I'm excited to have both of you here today because we can talk all about it and no one's going to complain. Yes. Well, I don't know, you guys might because I'll rabbit on for ages. But I actually didn't get active on LinkedIn till about a year and a half ago. And to be honest with you, I never knew what to post on it. I was always a bit nervous. And I think especially being a woman in business as well, like women are so hard on themselves and we're so critical and we're so judgmental and we're often our toughest critics. And it's really challenging to go, oh, I want to put myself out there and give an opinion on a topic. So I got on probably about a year and a half ago and started actively posting and seeing it as a content platform, not just like as a job search platform or a networking platform. And it's honestly changed my life. And I often tell people it really saved our business during COVID because, Liv helps me manage, my LinkedIn and all the reach out. And it's been incredible for that. So big shout out to you. You've done a sensational
When do you
job.
think there was that shift between people starting to use it as a content platform rather than just, this is our company, this is what we're doing, like people actually talking to each other on the platform as people?
Look, that's a great question because I never, to be honest, went on for content. I never thought of LinkedIn as something
Me too,
that
yeah.
I went on as, looking for news daily or looking for business content. So I know that there have been people who have been super active on the platform for years and they really got on early and took advantage of that organic reach. Whereas I feel like with me, I was a bit late to the party. So I'm like, oh my God, where's the organic reach? But there's still a lot on the platform, which is sensational. But I think it's just having a real mindset shift and seeing, oh, hey, actually, this is a great place to build thought leadership. And I still feel like a lot of the big enterprise companies, like their C-suite, are not active on social. So, LinkedIn's a perfect way for them to be thinking of getting out there and posting about what's happening with the business. So,
Definitely. Yep.
yeah, so it's an interesting question. So, yeah, I think over the past, look, I would say that the pandemic definitely accelerated it. Because people couldn't go out and network as normal. Like we're stuck at home in PJs. You can't go out and get a coffee with people. You can't stay top of mind. So LinkedIn's a fantastic way to do that. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it goes this year because, you and I were talking about some of the stats. And actually, do you want to share the stats that we were talking about this morning?
Yeah, so I think I was saying it was 740 million users in the last quarter. So it's grown significantly. And engagement is up 40%. So it's just because people are at home, people wanting to have conversations, they can't basically, go out for coffee as you're saying, and they want to be interacting and, they can't be in the office saying, oh, what did you think of the latest event that happened or the latest news story? So they're actually using the platform to have those conversations. So, yeah, I think it made probably COVID less lonely for a lot of people as well.
Yeah, that's actually true. I mean, other than watch reruns of The Office, which I definitely did, I think it was really great just to get on LinkedIn and actually see, people that I would normally see in meetings or, out on the street or at events like on LinkedIn and getting a bit more active. So it's definitely been great. So how would you say that LinkedIn's good for humanizing a brand?
I think it's, basically what it means, putting a face behind the brand. It's just, it's being genuine. It's associating a person with the values of the brand and them just emulating that. And I think you've been really great at that too, Lisa. Like,
I learned a lot.
because you're fun and playful, and that's basically what I hope. That's what we are at CODI. Well, we are. We have a lot of fun, so I think that it brings a lot of business in, because you're basically speaking to people, being real, not trying to be someone you're not, and yeah.
I think there's been like a shift in the type of content that we see on LinkedIn now as well. I've noticed it's not necessarily as formal as it once was. And I noticed that during the pandemic as well. People were more candid, more casual. And I think that, it humanises the brand. So I think I've definitely seen that in the last 12 months as well, which has been good, because it's, not necessarily a platform that you would necessarily find that sort of content. And I think it's important to have that happy divide between, your business, and then having something that people can relate to, which is, what you're passionate about, your hobbies, that sort of stuff. So it's good to see that sort of content on the platform becoming more and more consistent.
Well, that's actually a great point, because previously when you looked at big corporates especially, everything was so produced to within an inch of its life. Like, I'm like, that's clearly a stock image. I bet those people don't work for your company. But everything was perfect. It was like probably models saying they're in suits. Whereas during COVID, you can't do any of that. No. So it's like literally people just sitting around in T-shirts.
Yeah. And there was a bit of a craze last year. Did you see everyone was changing their
background.
DPs to be like, this is my reality. Like, this is who I am.
Yeah, very relatable. You can resonate and think, we're all on the same level.
Exactly. It's actually so true. So I think the pandemic was really tough for a lot of people and a lot of businesses, but that's definitely one of the positives that's come out of it. Like, people feel like they can maybe be a bit more authentic on LinkedIn, and they don't need to be so uptight. And I was in a Clubhouse room the other day talking about LinkedIn. Jesus, like, can't stop talking about LinkedIn. And we were talking about humour and how we use humour in the platform. And you sort of spoke a little bit about, just being yourself. And I fully believe in that. Like, you guys see me on a daily basis. I'm like the biggest dork. Like, I'm not cool whatsoever. I'm like the daggiest person in the office. And I always felt nervous to show that side of my personality, because I thought, I've just got to be like a corporate robot and be really serious. And then I just thought, like at CODI, we're so focused on wanting people to be themselves. And we've got so many different types of people, and I never want them to feel like they've got to fit into a box. Because when I was in corporate, I was very much like, you must be a corporate robot and just sit in here and just do your tax returns and do all that. Whereas here I'm like, no, the thing that makes us amazing is that there are so many different personalities. I think it's so important to actually just be authentic and show whoever you are on LinkedIn, and you'll attract that kind of tribe around you.
Yeah, absolutely. And then other clients want to work with you because, they share your values and what you're saying, and they're not going to be surprised down the track when you, do certain things, because they're like, I know what I'm in for.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, you're like that. Oh, Jesus. It's almost like dating. It's like you just have to be yourself right from the get-go and not pretend to be anyone else.
I actually think LinkedIn is a little bit like that. Like, when you do videos, it's like, okay, speed dating. Let's fire through some questions. What is my most unique thing I can say about myself in like the first 10 seconds?
Yeah. And like, you actually do have to think a lot about that when you're thinking about content, like how you come across, how you want to be perceived. So yeah, interesting. Liv, I'm going to talk to you about Sales Navigator, because I know that's your favorite. Your baby, Sales Navigator. So firstly, for people who don't know what LinkedIn Sales Navigator is, can you just give like a quick little spiel?
Yeah, definitely. So as you know, LinkedIn is basically one of the only platforms that gives you a direct line of contact to connect and engage with ideal decision makers in any company. And Sales Nav is the best function or tool that you can use to achieve that. So basically what you can do is you can go through and you can reach out to different sorts of people within a business, direct people that might be CMOs, CEOs, depending on what you want to offer them, or if there's just a gap in the market that you think, hey, I could really help or benefit this person or their business. So it allows you just to go through and connect and actually outreach and message those people specifically through filtering. So you don't necessarily have that on LinkedIn, but through Sales Nav you can go through, you can search by the people within the company, their title, where they're based internationally, locally. Really, the options are endless. So it's a really great tool. And if you're a business or anyone out there, I would definitely recommend jumping on and taking the full advantage of SalesNav because it's a really great tool. We love it.
I know we definitely are a little bit unhealthily obsessed with SalesNav, and it's I think about $100 a month. And people actually often ask, "Is it worth paying $100 a month?" People actually ask about premium. Is it worth it? I think premium's around. I should have worked this out beforehand, around $50 or something. I would 100% get SalesNav over premium. Like,
definitely. You're getting more bang for your buck. And there's, as I said, the options are really endless when it comes to filtering. So the more that you tailor it, the more specific your search will actually become. So if you want to reach out to, I guess, CMOs in the retail industry or fashion apparel or whatever it could be, you can actually go through and you can get down to those decision makers and message them specifically after you connect or grow your account. So it's
a little bit like Facebook.
Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely like Facebook. It's handy in the fact that you can go ahead and you can actually grow your account, and then you can come in, and then after you've accepted with that connection as well, you can reach out to them, and it gives you different touch points as well. So you might actually be connected with that person through, you might have actually gone to high school together or university. So it gives you different touch points of how you can connect with those people before you jump in and, hey, I want to pitch this or I want to try and sell that. So it doesn't actually push you to be too salesy. It actually allows you to relate with them before you go ahead and
look at their posts as well and engage with that content.
Definitely. I say to a lot of, I always say to Lisa or to a lot of our clients, hey, before you go ahead and you try and engage with someone, like go through their page, engage or react with their content, because it just goes that extra mile to show that you're genuine, you're interested about them, their business, what they stand for. It's great for that, most definitely.
Yeah, it's like dating. I don't get why these people slide into your DMs and go straight for the sailors. Like, you'd never go to someone, oh, hey, do you want to go straight on a date? And you don't even build up any rapport. It's so weird.
Exactly, yeah. No, you don't
I
want
think Gary Vee talks about that too. He's like, take me out for coffee first. Like,
buy me dinner.
Butter me up,
Exactly.
That's right.
I love Gary Vee, actually. Okay, so actually that ties in really nicely into my next question. What are some of the do's and don'ts on SalesNav? Because there'd be plenty of don'ts.
Plenty of don'ts, yeah. So I think one of the main things is to be really creative when it comes to your filtering functions. Play with them, see what works. As I said, the more tailored you are, the more specific your results are going to be. So spend some time doing that and invest some time, as I said, in actually engaging with the person's profile before you connect with them. Like I said, comment on a post. See, there's actually tabs on the SalesNav tool as well to tell you like if they've changed jobs in the last 30 days, if they've been promoted, if they've changed positions. So there's different touch points that you can actually go through and have a look before you engage with that person. I think don'ts, when you are messaging someone through the SalesNav tool, don't be too salesy. As I said, it's a massive turn off. No one wants that. Like, it's not a good thing. It's not what we're after. But I think with your message as well, you don't want it to be too generic. Make it tailored. Make sure you're addressing the person's name specifically. If you do have a template, make sure that you are changing things. It's nothing worse than sending someone a message that's not specific to them, and you can't really come back from that.
That's so true. I've received a few, hi, Richard. I'm like, that's not me.
That's not me. No.
There is no Richard here. Thank you. Yeah, I've definitely seen a few of those template fails.
Yeah. So, definitely make sure your message is targeted and tailored to the person, but don't give them an essay. Short and sweet, to the point.
So true.
You don't want anything too lengthy, but if you can, I always recommend popping a CTA as well. So like, would love to grab your email or would love to, share calendar details so I can jump in and organise a meeting, because you want to think about how we can, obviously get to know the person, but how you can loop back in and benefit them or their business.
Yeah, good one. And yes, the long messages, just stop sending those because no one's reading them. No. I can tell you that right now.
It's a waste of time. Time is money.
Yeah, exactly. So, we do a lot of work with Sales Navigator for lead generation, and it's been incredible. Like, it's actually sensational. I do think as well, like when it comes to doing Sales Nav, reach out and lead gen, it's good to be posting content too, because then people feel like they know you.
Definitely.
Before.
And you're present on the platform. You're not, someone that is just sliding into their DMs without any sort of interaction on the platform. That's why you do such a great job of that. And I think why people always respond pretty quickly to you is because they know you're active, they know you're engaged, they know you really genuinely care. So I think that makes a huge point. I've even said to our internal sales team as well, before you jump on and start filtering through or trying to grow your account, post yourself.
Yes.
Define and establish yourself on the platform as well, because that's really important. People want to know what you're about, what you stand for, what your values are, and what you do. What's your position within the business? How can you benefit or relate to them? So a massive do.
Yeah, I agree with that. And also just in terms of even building yourself up as an expert in the space, it's like a great way to do that. So by the time you do reach out, then people go, oh yeah, I do know that you love digital marketing because I see you talking about it on LinkedIn. So you have some idea of what's going on. So they're more likely to listen to you than just some stranger who's just slid into their DMs trying to sell them, something.
Exactly what you said before. You're establishing yourself as a thought leader.
Yes.
So people relate to you and go, oh, hey, yeah, I can resonate with that, or I can see there's a benefit for me to, be connected with Lisa because, I need digital marketing and I need it now.
Yeah, and she's annoying. She's always clogging up my feed. I always get that a lot, actually. People are like, oh my God, you're clogging up my feed. You're always there. I'm like, it's working. You can't escape me. But I'm like, what better way to say it's working than to be clogging up your feed? So I'm like, yep, great. So come work with us. So moving on to our next segment, which is Trend Watch. I'm going to ask you some questions, Coco. So what are the current LinkedIn trends that you're seeing?
So basically, because of last year with this sort of growth and how people are engaging with the platform, people are really looking to it for, information source. So if you can really provide value in your content, I mean, we're always saying that to our clients, like how-to content is performing really well. Don't sort of not really talking too much about your achievements all the time, but really giving back and especially, utilising video content and making it super snappy and to the point, and even doing a lot of behind the scenes content is really good, and people love that. If you can kind of show them, somewhere that's other than your bedroom and your maybe like messy bookcase, then I think they'll, appreciate that. So yeah, it shows that you're real, and I think people are, trying to be less serious on the platform, and I think that's working really well. And a lot of storytelling is happening as well.
Yes.
And people are loving that because it's like, storytelling is just like it's, goes back in time. It's one of the most effective forms of communicating. It's, a beginning and an end, and it really, conveys emotion, and it really gets the viewer's attention, and people can resonate with that as well.
And people actually remember things better when you tell it in a story. So say, for example, if I said to you, when you're listing your prices for something, if you listed it from most expensive to least expensive rather than least expensive to most expensive, then you'll sell more. And then you'd be like, okay, whatever. Like, I might remember that, I might not. But I remember when I actually heard this fact, the guy was saying that he was working with a pizza restaurant and they had everything listed on the menu, and then they had it listed from the most expensive, the cheapest item to the most expensive. And then he told them, hey, change that around, list the most expensive item first and see how you go. So they changed nothing else on the menu. They just flipped the order around. And then within the first week, they got a 15% increase in sales just from doing that.
That's amazing.
And then I remember that over pretty much anything else he said in the interview because it was a story.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Anecdotes, yeah.
Yes, exactly. And I guess just not just giving information, maybe tell the audience how you came about that information, or even like when I'm talking about getting active on LinkedIn, I'll tell the story about how I did get active or how it was hard for me at the start, and it just means so much more because I think people are craving that human connection more.
Absolutely. And admitting vulnerability, I think, is...
Yes.
Because, it's important as a leader that you show your vulnerable side because, it shows you that you're real and that it took time to get where you were, where we've come, and otherwise, like, we're not superhumans.
Yes.
And even things like becoming an entrepreneur, it's not an easy path. Well, I'm not an entrepreneur, but I can imagine of what the entrepreneurs that I look at. So
exactly right. So I think it's not being afraid to show that you're just a human being at the end of the day, and there are things that you've done wrong and you've just learned from them. So now this question is the $1 million question. What on earth is happening with the LinkedIn algorithm? What is the algorithm? How do I hack the algorithm? Talk to me about the algorithm.
LinkedIn does not want you to hack the algorithm. It basically, last year, they've changed a little bit, and it's basically dwell time. They're looking at dwell time, how long people spend on each post. So the longer you're spending on that post, they're going to make sure that content gets redistributed. They're prioritising reactions and comments and then shares. But yeah, it's basically as long as you're providing value, you're not trying to like hack, do like trick the audience, then I think you'll do well. And I think that's where the storytelling comes in, because you're keeping the people looking, reading, engaging, and they don't just read the first line, get hooked in like a clickbait line, and then they get to the post and go, oh, what's this post actually saying? So yeah, it's all about just value.
Yeah, fantastic.
Even though I'm a bit sick of the word.
Well, actually, what accounts have you seen do really well, and why do you think they're doing well?
I mean, there's sort of the big ones like Mark Boris and we like to follow Jonathan Palmer at CODI because he's always providing really useful stuff on LinkedIn. It's highly edited, so like you don't need to do that, go that extreme, but I think he's very effective with his sort of like colours and his how-to tutorials.
He's got great hair as well.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got a glorious mane going on.
Lisa Tay, I've heard she's pretty good on LinkedIn.
She is. She's killing it. Yeah, I mean, I was really thinking about, there's not enough women really on the platform.
Oh my
God,
God,
it drives
I
me
know.
nuts. I can think of so many men who are obviously doing really well, like Simon Sinek, but there just isn't. And I look at some of the most successful entrepreneurs, female entrepreneurs in Australia, and they're not active on it. And it's sad, but hopefully it changes soon.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think this is something that you and I talk about a bit because you're like, when are we going to get a female LinkedIn client? Because all of our clients are men. I'm like, I'm dying for a female LinkedIn client. So if someone wants help with their LinkedIn who's female, please sing out because we'd love to work with you. But, I must say I'm really proud of the team because it's really hard to post on LinkedIn and you guys have been getting active. I've been pretty much forcing you to do it. No, threatening you, no. But I know it's hard to put yourself out there and it's, there are absolute dicks out there who will have a go at you just for posting something. And I just think go away, like block, report, delete. But I'm really proud of you guys for putting yourself out there and getting active and, having an opinion on things or sharing things that might interest you because, you don't have to be a top CEO to have an opinion. You can be at any stage of your career. You can just be starting out. You can be in the middle of it. You can be at the end of it. And there's so much knowledge that you can impart just because you've got a very unique journey. So I think it's great. And definitely give Liv and Coco a follow. I'm sure I'll probably keep harassing them to keep posting. But, your insights are incredible. And I feel really fortunate to be able to work with you guys because you're literally digital natives. Like I'm old now. Like I'm pretty much ancient over the hill.
Your TikTok video went viral.
I know.
I haven't even done one yet. So
let's talk about it.
Look, it's because my dog was in it. I'm not even going to pretend that it's because of me. But I do, look, I must admit, like I'm getting old now and I never got on Snapchat, for example. I was like, I just can't do it anymore. And then so when TikTok came out, I thought, okay, come on, just get on there. Just do it. And I've pretty much given up on my TikTok career. So now I'm on Clubhouse, which will be a topic for another podcast. But, I think it's just important to be active on social if you're in digital marketing. And I always say to people, if you don't love social media, don't get into digital marketing because it's changing so much. So you just have to be on it all the time. You've got to be immersing yourself in the world. And that's really how I've learnt everything that I know.
You're very good at
spending
doing
time on the platform.
You just you've already done how many rooms on Clubhouse?
I know.
It's that all or nothing personality.
It's great though. Like you're testing it and you're doing your own beta testing, which is great.
Yeah, and just making stacks of mistakes along the way. But the funny thing is if you can quickly do that, then you can become an expert because other people
how you
won't.
learn.
Yeah. I'm pretty much a professional moderator on Clubhouse now. PTR, that means pull to refresh everybody. So pull to refresh the room. It's a little Clubhouse, bit of Clubhouse lingo.
Down with it.
I'm just really trying to be cool and failing miserably. But yeah, I think it's just really important. So for me, I'm pretty much on LinkedIn from the minute I wake up to the minute I go to bed, which is really sad, but it's really important, I think, just to see what's actually happening on there. And there's no better way to actually learn than by being on the platforms.
And also LinkedIn Learning is getting a big push at the moment. And I think in Sales Navigator, if you have that, then you actually have access to a whole lot of things on the LinkedIn Learning. And basically LinkedIn Learning is, they bought lynda.com a few years ago, so it's all the tutorials. It's just like a no-brainer, you know. It's basically all the best YouTube videos you can get on LinkedIn, and you're learning from the best, and it's very like high production value, and you're listening to like top CEOs and just really interesting people. So that's another reason to use LinkedIn.
Yeah, come on, LinkedIn, sponsor this podcast. So moving on to our second to last segment, things I've learnt, tips and tricks. Liv, now I know you know everything about Sales Navigator, so I guess give me like the top 3 things you've learnt from Sales Nav.
Yeah, well, I think one of the main ones is basically when it comes to your message outreach. So I know that messages sent via SalesNav or LinkedIn usually have a 3 times greater response rate compared to those sent via email. So that's pretty great in itself. So definitely recommend jumping on and outreaching and using the platform itself to filter through your connections and people you want to actually, you know, potentially pitch to or just have a discussion with, because you're more than likely to get a response rate if you were just sending, you know, for example, maybe a deck to a potential client via email or a case study, like this is what we've done previously. Not necessarily going to get a response rate straight away. Whereas with SalesNav, it's just the stats just tell us you just have a high response rate, which is really great. So going to take full advantage of that.
That's actually so true, because I think about my inbox, and I was talking to Rosie from my team the other day, and she saw my inbox, and I've currently got 13,303 unread messages in my inbox.
Wow.
And she was like, I'm going to die. That's disgusting. I was like, oh, really? Oh, that's actually like not too bad. But you're competing for just so much, like you're competing at so much content in someone's inbox, whereas on LinkedIn, there's barely anyone actually messaging other people. So you're probably going to get seen like a lot more.
Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. And I think what I've noticed as well is the beauty of a follow-up message. I know we've talked about this previously. Don't be afraid. If you don't necessarily hear back from someone within 5 to 7 days, it's okay to slide back in and just touch base. Because on that second message, they are more than likely to respond.
Yeah.
Because it goes to show that, hey, they've just not just reached out and then left me, you know, out to dry. They've followed up with me. They've taken the time. So don't be afraid to follow up and send a tailored message if you haven't heard from the first touch point. So
exactly. And definitely. I've done 3 messages before. I'm really keen with no shame.
Yeah.
And sometimes I remember actually one of my clients is like, I've got to reply to you because you've sent 3 messages now. And I'm like, thank you. And we actually ended up working with them. So
see, it just goes to show, don't give up, persevere.
Because I think the first message, when I get the first message, I'm always like, oh, they're just sending this to everyone.
Or you might open it and think, I'll get back to that. And, you know,
yes,
life gets in the way. You forget about it, or other things come into the pipeline. Whereas if you're following up in, you know, weeks' time, 2 weeks' time maximum, more than likely to get a response rate if nothing actually progressed the first time. So it's something fascinating. With an email, sometimes people won't respond the first or second time, whereas when you've got a thread or a chain on your SalesNav inbox, the response rate is higher. So it's fascinating.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, Lisa, what are your top 3 things for someone who is starting out for the first time
on LinkedIn
and posting?
Ooh, yes. Good one. Good question. This I can definitely answer. I would firstly say, think about a strategy. So what do you want to be known for? And I guess really what's your objective on the platform? Like, are you trying to do lead generation? Are you looking to build thought leadership? And that will help you form a bit of a strategy into what you're going to be doing. And then when you work that out, then you can think about the content that you're actually going to start posting. So think about the key content pillars that you're wanting to cover. So I would say definitely look at what you're passionate about, because that's going to always come across really well. And then what do you want to become an expert? What do you want to become known as an expert for? And that will be something that you should also be covering as well. I think the biggest tip though I can give anyone is like, just don't care about what anyone else thinks, because we're so in our own heads. And at the end of the day, like, people are going to judge you for whatever, and you can't control what other people think of you or your content. So what you can control is that you're putting yourself out there. And Gary Vee actually had this great quote that was, don't let other people's like thoughts and opinions get in the way of your happiness and your opportunities. And I think that's a really really good way of looking at it, because I think of all the opportunities that I've had from posting on LinkedIn, and I just think I would never have gotten them if I hadn't been active and not caring about what people think. Because I know people find me really irritating on the platform. I don't know who they are, but no. But there are people who won't like my content, and that's totally fine. Like, you know, I'm just being who I am, and that's just life. Like, not every single person's going to like you.
It's like Insta though, like Lizzo always says that. I love Lizzo. And she's just always like, if you don't like it, don't follow me.
Yeah,
like,
piss
you
off.
don't have to
Exactly
be here.
right.
So
Yeah.
I think then the more you overthink it as well, that's more of a roadblock. Like, oh, I'm not going to post that now because I might have that comment or this judgment made.
Yes.
And that's what's like the biggest hurdle sometimes for some people to overcome. Like, what is that person going to think? The unknown. God forbid someone doesn't like or has something to say. And it's like, you know what, at the end of the day, if you're passionate about it and you've, you know, have, you know, strong opinions about it, post about it.
Exactly.
The people that support you will obviously, you know, give you that positive feedback, and those that don't, well, it's their issue.
Exactly right. And people focus too much on what could go wrong
That's right.
as opposed to what could go right.
And that's what initially might stop them from, you know, and like you said, you're preventing yourself from potential opportunities. So it's like, don't overthink it and just spend some time investing in it and see how you go.
Yes, exactly. Exactly right. This is our last segment, which is very sad. I feel like that went way too quickly.
I know, way too quickly.
5 quick questions. So we're going to spread the love around a bit. So I'm going to go to Liv for the first question. What was it like when you did your first video on LinkedIn?
Oh gosh, it's like a blast from the past. This was like pre-COVID.
This is pre-COVID.
Pre-COVID. No, it was. I mean, I had you by my side, so I was like in the best capable hands. So I was very lucky, but I was so nervous. And I think, like I said before, it was the unknown, and like I was like, oh, how did people, you know, make comment on this or that? And I was definitely a little bit hesitant. And I was so grateful that you actually gave me the push. And now I'm slowly getting back into it as well now, which is good. So it's definitely my goal this year to be more active on the platform and have a presence. So yeah, I was definitely nervous, but like you said, and I think I recommend if you are a little bit, you know, anxious or not too sure about it, do it with a colleague or with, you know, someone that is experienced, like Lisa Tate, or Coco.
I'll pin
and
myself out.
don't think about it. Like, I feel like it's like when you're standing, I don't know, if you're about to jump out of a plane, like, you know, the longer you look down and you're like, oh my God, hesitating, the worse it's going to be. But if you just sort of like, someone just pushed you, you'd be fine. Like when we did it today, I was just like, you were like, let's do it. I was like, okay. Like, whereas if I'd had a week to think about it, I'd be like,
if you let it marinate, you think, oh, I'm not going to do it now. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
Like, just do it.
Yeah. And I've had clients
do
who
it,
feel like that too. Like if they have a few days to think about it, then they like get nervous. But
Hesitant,
Yeah, I think that's true, because if you just if you overthink anything, you just psych yourself out of it.
Yeah.
And I mean, you saw that today, like for both of our videos, for both of you, it was just literally on a phone. It wasn't anything overly produced. Like, you can be quite raw. You just have to be authentic and real. So yeah, so well done. So that was your first video today.
Yeah.
Yep. It's exciting times for LinkedIn video content at CODI Agency. Now my question is for you, Coco. How do you stay up with the latest trends?
So a few different, I mean, for LinkedIn, there's the social media marketing talk show with Michael Stelzner, and he does like a lot of social media things, but he does little LinkedIn stuff every now and then, and gets really interesting experts in the field, like keynote speakers. And Bruce Johnson, we started following his newsletter, and he's really helpful. He kind of just like, his newsletters are really specific and just little hacks for LinkedIn. But yeah, I think there's like a lot of interesting platforms you can follow, and people just follow like influencers on LinkedIn, and you'll get content as well.
Yeah, good one. Excellent.
Oh, me too. Sorry.
I can ask myself the question.
How do you get in the zone to do a video?
This is a funny question, because I do my videos on the day I post them. So I actually do all my content just whenever I feel like it. I'm not someone who's very organised, and I'm sure you know that because you guys work with me. But I always think about what I'm feeling on the day. So, and it's funny because I look back at my videos and I go, oh, I was really into sales at that time. I was really into leadership. I was really into LinkedIn. I was really into Clubhouse then. So I can just see my, like, whatever I'm interested in at the time, I'll speak about that. So I usually do my videos at home, and I just go where there's really good natural lighting, and then I get set up. And inevitably, it's so annoying because my husband, I'm about to sit down to do a video and he'll just walk in to make a cup of tea. I'm like, I'm trying to do a LinkedIn video. Can you please get out? Because like he doesn't understand. Like you have to be in the zone.
Yeah.
And then you should see my camera roll. Oh my God, there's so many videos of me just like.
I need a blooper reel.
Yeah, there's like about a gazillion bloopers. Like some days I'm really just not feeling
Can
it.
we add these
And
to the podcast?
oh yeah,
recording?
there'll be like a million. There'll be like probably about 10 videos in a row of just me going, "Hi guys, so can you just are you right? Like, can you get out of my? Do you have to make tea right now? Oh, for God's sake!" There's like a million of me doing that. Or then Wolfie would just like do a massive sigh or something. I'm
I
like,
thought you were going to say fart. I was like, that'd be great.
so yeah, it is like you do need to be in the zone and you do need to have like a good environment if you're going to do it the way I do. Or you could just be smart and get an agency to help you and you can just get it all done at the one go.
There's that.
Yeah. So I'd definitely advise for that option. But yeah, usually I just try and do it before I do it before I check my emails.
That's a good idea. Get into a routine.
100%. And I try and do it before I even get on social because otherwise, especially if I'm on my emails, I'm probably just going to start working. And then my mind will be thinking, I need to do that, I need to do that, I need to do that. Whereas you almost need like that clear mind when you're doing videos because you want it to be really punchy, really succinct, and then just straight to the point. Because I'm a massive waffler, so I've got to stop that. Still waffling now.
No, but one of the most important questions I want to ask you, Lisa. Okay, so who is your celebrity crush on the platform currently?
Oh my God.
Probably a few, but I could narrow down just to one.
That's a really hard question. I have this weird obsession with Simon Sinek and I don't know why. I find him like oddly attractive. I don't think anyone else does.
Quite keen.
About him.
Yeah. Call me Simon if you're single. Slide into my DMs. But I just actually love his content as well. Like I love that he's an eternal optimist and I feel like that's something that really resonates with my personality. Like I'm always like glass half full all the time and I think he's very much like that. And actually Bob Iger, he's got an amazing book. So he's the CEO of Disney and he has a great book talking about his time at Disney. And one of his quotes was, "No one wants to follow a pessimist." And it's something that I take really seriously in my role at CODI because last year was really freaking hard and it was super stressful. And running a business is just really stressful at the best of times. But during a pandemic, I was like, oh my God, just kill me now. It's like so stressful. But there's no point if you're a leader just being stressed out and being really negative because it's part of your role to be positive. And it's almost like you don't want to be naive. Like, yes, there are challenges ahead, but you need to go, we will overcome them and this is how we're going to do it. So I do love Simon's approach to life and I think he's really cute too. Hi, Simon. Yeah.
Amazing.
And then it's the last question's me. Okay, so I should probably ask that. This is actually a really good question. So if you could change one thing about the platform, what would it be? So who wants to go first?
It's a bit of a tricky one. I mean, in my sales nerve realm, I don't know if it's something I necessarily change, but something that potentially, LinkedIn, if you're out there listening, an enhancement could be, I know when, like, obviously we've talked about the importance of like growing your account and taking some time to invest in your connections. I think it'd be really handy because there's things there's actually tabs on Sales Nav and there's one called lead lists. Love a good lead list. So what that is basically is if you're potentially, it just allows you to organize your growth or your outreach. So if you have like X amount of CMOs in like the retail or fashion apparel industry, after you connect with them, you can just grab them all and pop them into a list and then they're there. And then at the end of the week, you can come through, you can see who's accepted, who might have replied to a message, but it'd be really handy to actually see like at the end, the last page or like a report potentially, like who's actually responded to your message or who's accepted your connection, because you have to at this stage like go through manually and have a look. I'm pretty sure, I haven't seen like anything as far as reporting goes in regards to lead lists, so that would be handy to have like a rundown of like how many people have accepted your request in the week or how many people have actually responded to your message instead of like manually going in and having to organise that way, but that would be handy. I'd love that. But yeah, apart from that, I really can't fault it. I love my sales now.
Oh.
If you're listening, LinkedIn, take that advice on board.
Please.
Well, mine is just more content on it. So I would love to see more creatives on the platform, like people in the creative industry, and doing like more humorous, sort of ironic like posts. So sort of you know, a bit of like comedy and just making it a bit more fun, but also like interwoven with the whole like business community, but just so it's not, I don't know, I feel like LinkedIn could have the capacity to become a bit too earnest, and I think it's just like there's some people who I follow on like Instagram and stuff who are making a transition over to LinkedIn as well, and they're kind of doing these like skits where they're like pretending to do mock interviews, and it's so good, and it's just like great content, so that's what I'd like to see more of.
Yeah, because I think it's good to have a bit of humour, because we're all human at the end of the day. Like beneath all the suits and the corporate facades, like it's still just a human being. So I think that, and a lot of us, most of us, have a sense of humour. So I think it really helps you stand out if you can show your personality and not be afraid to do that. So
Definitely.
Yay! Well, this is unfortunately the end of the episode, but we're going to put your LinkedIn handles in the show notes, so you can go and find Coco and live on the platform.
And you can slip into our DM.
Exactly. So if you have any questions about LinkedIn, please send them a message, because they clearly know their stuff. So
Try to.
We try.
Yeah, so definitely reach out if you have any questions. If you would like to work with us, we would love to work with you. So please reach out to us. And thanks again for joining me, guys.
Thanks,
Thank
Lisa.
you for having us.
And we'll be back with the next episode shortly.